Alright, so we have like 20 something replays from Headboomer again. I'm not. I can't promise I'll get through them all. I'll keep watching them and then I'll see kind of where things start feeling repetitive to say, and I'll probably call it there. I know you also asked that I could give a little bit of advice for your friend, so I'll try and keep an eye out for both. I apologize if I end up still just focusing mostly on you. And if you want more advice, feel free to like ping about certain things. Well, yeah. If you have further questions, do not hesitate to ask. If they're like timestamp specific, just tell me what time or shoot a timestamp along with it and go, they're curious what they should be doing here, so on and so forth. I'll gladly revisit things if you have any further questions. But with that out of the way, Affiliate mirrors. Assuming it's beam versus. One thing I will say is Philly is probably a character I won't be able to tell you about like niche interactions for, but I'll. What were we calling here? We just got hot air dashing in front of our assist, and because it has an ungodly amount of startup, we paid the price. Good incoming. Opened up, unfortunate. Missed the boost bait. I will say Hurlball out of block is usually going to be a great choice. So I will try to discourage that. Really like the pressure. Didn't quite get the restand. Got under the beam, but overcommitted a little bit. Did we get hit? If you were quick with it, you might have been able to do hair spiral and catch them landing on you, punishing it, but overall it was just a bit of an overextension. Unfortunate drops. Pressing on wake up. Might have just been missing pick trigger. Unfortunate. Open up low. Guess wrong. What are you gonna do? Good tech. Okay. And once again, getting caught, calling an assist. Always gotta be careful when dealing with Philia. Because she can and will just get on you in like the blink of an eye. All of a sudden, you're exploding. So death. Get gripped. trying to get a feel for what's been going on. Because we've gotten a couple, well, Zardy has gotten a couple of hits. But it feels like overall they're just kind of getting out-neutraled. And part of it has to do with Beam. Beam kind of just exists. Mess up the mix. So, like, here, for using Umbi 6 HP assist, you need to find a way to play that she will not get tagged while starting them. It covers a lot of the screen and can give you a phenomenal amount of pressure if it's able to get out. But very similar to what I was talking about with Control earlier is because of its startup and lack of armor, most assists will come out and be faster than it. So if that's the case, you either need to call it far enough back that it will just be so hard to hit for them while still being in range for you to get an advantage off of it, or you need to bait out and deal with their assist and then call yours while their assist will still be on. And that's kind of how you're going to get a lot more use out of this 6 heavy punch assist in matchups like these than you have been. Gets opened up. Dashing out, but getting punished. That trades, that's wild. We need to get this hair girl off of us and try and see if we can get into Rav. But we're in Rav now. So, actually, here when you get this hit, Headboomer, I'll wait till I see. Okay, no, you are doing what I was suggesting. You just reset once to get control of the corner. Fair enough. Yeah. Snapping there, getting rid of half a health bar. Good incoming. Overextending. That is not safe. So, okay, to explain the reason why some snaps are good and some snaps aren't. So here, there are a couple things to think about, and I can understand the argument for snapping. I just want to make sure you're wrapping your head around kind of the thought processes involved. So, I was like all the way behind Headboomer's snap because scam call, leave me alone. I was all the way behind Headboomer's snap because that bar killed like half the health bar of the character, and that is more damage than 1 meter super will ever give. For you, snapping in this situation is it's getting rid of a little bit more health than a super probably would in your instance, but it's close, as well as the fact that the one thing you really need to keep in mind for incoming is you are still forcing another interaction where they could just block. And so this is a little bit more risky because you have the Indizzy, and if you get the hit, it will be a kill if you cash out more meter afterwards. But if you lose that neutral interaction, then Philia just gets to play the game again and not be at any risk of like getting chipped out for a long time. And so she can live, build more meter, let Robo get the health back in the back that she now has, etc. And so we snapped him in, didn't have a nice incoming setup, and then kind of fumbled it. And the Philia got to play, almost killed us, but dropped. We also dropped. So, were we already in pre-jump? If we were already in pre-jump, there isn't much we could have done there, but if you were still on the ground and reacted to jumping over it, you also could have just DP'd it. Which is something to consider. Because your DP being a hit crab would have also avoided the beam. Because when you're in a throw state, you are invulnerable. Once again, just gonna bring up the point. If you're throwing your assist out at the same time as your opponent, your assist is gonna lose. And so you're just losing health on your assist. It's domed. Ran herself into a corner. You are in the corner for a bit, sorry. We got a hit. Unfortunate drop on the mix. Yep. I'll watch the bonus pressure for a little bit. They have been focusing a lot on Zardy for now. Mash, cover the punish. So how are we playing? Is this in replay? It is, isn't it? Whoops. Not bad. So, once again, let's use this thing. We're in. Oh, good push block by Head Boomer. Why didn't that? Oh, we got caught before the ball can be in. We could the double snap a little more. Don't punish. Double low, double high. Fortunate drop. Good recognition on the weird situation after the raw tag. This isn't. I don't think that's safe, is it? Really liking the push blocks I've been seeing from you, Head Boomer. Meter doesn't quite kill. Gets caught by the 6 HP. Air dash in. Snap in. This time the incoming. Hey, trip. Okay. I want to pay attention to Zardy's push block habits really quickly, because that might be why they're struggling. It took a while, but eventually they had a push block, and it was a good push block. It's not a bad one. Punish this, please. Medium counter hit. Well, next. Doesn't kill. Neutral get up. And this is one of the worst matchups in the game. Have fun. One thing I will recommend doing versus Robo is super jump. Getting above Robo means she needs to. The only way she has to hit you is to also super jump up to you and then use M beam or H beam. And then that buys you time, which is really nice. Dash level 3, then none. I think you're a little too reliant on Slurp and Slide to like close distance and neutral. Her mobility feels like it sucks, but you don't need to force from full screen a point blank interaction because it's reactable. They can jump over it, and then the whiff, like it's great on look, but on whiff you're just getting blasted. So I'd encourage you to think a little bit more about walking or dashing on the ground, using some of your air mobility and buttons to contest a little bit differently. Doing a bubble jump instead of slurp and slide. It's equally predictable, but it's safer because you can be blocking. You can throw the mix-up of, am I going to press a button on the way down, or am I just going to block on the way down, or am I going to land on them with an air throw? All that shipping. Just mix it up a little bit, because once you do it a lot, it will start getting called out and punished pretty consistently. Once again, the point about assists. Alright, now it's your turn to call your assist. Again, it was your turn to call your assist. It was just, you were a little too close to Philia, so she was also able to assist it. Did we actually push block there? We push blocked a little too early, right before the stun heavy punch hit, so it didn't actually end up taking the head boomer anywhere. That's a good push block. Contested the space afterwards. Unfortunate draw. Yeah. I'm gonna say this, not that it is not incredibly hard, just that it is very helpful. Consider trying to practice push blocking Philia a little bit earlier. You're already push blocking her at some pretty good times, but if you can do it on like first hit of crouch light kick, or like consistently after head boomer goes into 5 medium kick, you'll be in a pretty good spot. Yeah. So, yeah. That's the exact same round start. Beam just beats your assist up. Okay. And learning to adapt your round starts when you're losing them is... Or even when you're going quote-unquote neutral, because while your point's not getting hit, your assist is still losing health. So, neutral or newsing, however you want to call it, you could be trying to win them. So thinking about what you're doing, what your opponent's doing for the start, it's pretty important. Pressing on incoming, gets it with the meaty button. Mashing. No punish on the whiff throw. It's the right idea to contest after that push block. If the beam wasn't there. The beam covered the spots. And that pressure. So we did change up a round start. Round start raw tag is incredibly unsafe. I don't know if that's where I would go with that. Let's see what head boomer is doing for pressure. Did you get a confirm off this? Looks like he did. Didn't quite have it. Snap. I think you could have Gregor already. Then mix off the beam. GG's shaking my head. Ah, that's just right. Bruh. It is nice that these games are very violent and quick, though. Lets me get through a lot of them. Ground start deal. Kind of just getting tagged by affiliate button. Once again, push blocking that jump heavy kick, push blocking that jump heavy punch. Both will help you. Good blocks, though. Just need the next stage of getting them off of you. Yeah, it's really these assist calls that are just blowing you up. He's now getting hit, taken to the corner, snapped. Goodbye. That trades. Yeah. That has been a thing, biceps. Once again, your assistant. Unfortunate drop, smashed. I don't know if I've ever seen Sardi tech instead of doing a neutral getup. Having a good mix of both and thinking about the decisions you make are pretty important. So like, do I want a neutral getup mess up with their timing? Do I want to tech out of the corner? Or am I going to tech left or right mid-screen? There's all merits to both, and hard committing to one is just going to make you predictable and get you, well, cleaned out. Okay. Once again, calling the assist in, kind of unprotected, but this time it worked out, just barely. Oh, no, beam still covers it. No GG. Good tech. So they both are biceps, but so Headboomer submitted this and said tips for Zardy as well are appreciated, and then it kind of became mostly a Zardy review because Headboomer has been on the upper hand for a lot of it. Yeah. So it's the things I'm noticing so far is the defense is pretty good. The push blocks could be a little bit earlier. The main thing I'm seeing a lot is just the assists are being called and we're not respecting the fact that 6 HP is slow and has no armor, so it's been getting caught a lot. And then we're just on the back foot from there, as well as dealing with beam properly. Beam is definitely a very oppressive assist, but we're kind of just staying on the ground one of the best ways to deal with beam is actually just to up back into it. And then you can vary your push block timing to mess with them, so on and so forth. Just probably something I should say outright. Or getting over it. Philia has a ton of pretty good air mobility, so if you have enough time to recognize it's coming in, I'm just going to get over it. Yeah, that's another really good thing to be considering. We didn't call her assist ground strike this time. But, so, one of the things I mean when I say protecting our assist, this is not an assist we can call and then up back away from. Which has been something you have been doing. Because this will happen. You call it, you say, go, my child, secure neutral, and then she just gets slapped around in front of you as you're running away from her, unable to protect her. If you're going to be using 6 HP assist, it's definitely an assist you want to be calling when you can at the very least hold your ground, if not, you're the one moving forward. Because it controls a lot of space, so you can start moving forward and it will still have impact on the space you're trying to control. Whereas this, you're just sending in your child to get bullied. This Philly's been taking all her lunch money. Yeah, so like push blocks there. Push blocks there would keep this Philly off you much better. Although, Biceps did say this already, if you see them going into stand heavy punch as a part of their block string, it is not safe. It's your turn to be pressing afterwards. I think it's only like -4, but it is your turn. You can press charge light kick, and then either do tick pressure, just go into a block string, etc. Got all that going for you. Does this work? What in the world? Yep. The bubble, oh my god. That one won't work. So, this is going to be incredibly hard in this specific matchup, but trying to get yourself as Umbi into Ravenous is pretty much the universal way all Umbi players agree is the way you should be looking to play her. She's just got so many strengths once she's in Ravenous that forcing your way there is incredibly important. So using Hairball, so if you can force the Philia to block something, then use Hairball, and then that lets you set up any of the bubbles. If you use Patui and hold it, you get rid of some resources, and you're just trying to, as quickly as possible, get yourself into at least very close to the range of Ravenous. And one of the nice things about doing that, especially versus a character like Philia, is Philia is a rushdown character with stubby buttons. And in order to get rid of your hunger, or to get more hunger, because you're getting Ravenous, in order to get to Ravenous, you are creating a wall of projectiles for her to have to deal with. So it's not putting yourself at a disadvantage to try and get rid of that. You are still playing neutral, while also getting yourself in a more advantageous state. I've not been seeing as many full screen slides lately, which is nice. Oh, we swapped our secondary. Was it the same issue? We called the assist delayed. If you're in between block strings, if your assist is not a DP assist or an armored assist, I'm just gonna straight up say don't call. You're just asking to get happy birthday. Even if it is a DP assist, there's a chance it gets hit in startup, or you get hit before it's in startup, and then it's a happy birthday. But a DP assist is like the only reasonable excuse to call an assist while you're in a block string. Yeah, because stuff like this happens. Hi, hello. Pause. What do we do after we neutral hops? Jump heavy punch is a much better button there if you're trying to control space than jump heavy kick. Can understand if that was a misinput hairball, but something to consider. We're getting pulled out for mashing a lot. It hasn't been working for us. And so, one of the most important aspects about being a mash heavy player is recognizing when once they start heavily playing around it. Because the two sides of the coin are, they mash a lot. Like, I'm going to punish their mash, so I do nothing. Or they don't mash a lot, so I'm going to be pressing their face. And so if you've convinced them that you're going to be a very heavily mashing player, the best thing you can do is not mash, and then use all of that space they give you, trying to safe jump you, etc. And so it's like, there's a side of the coin of mashing where once you stop, you've made waking up so much easier for yourself, because they're so much less likely to disrespect you. And the respectful things are so much easier to hold and give you a lot more time.
Everybody warmed up? Action!
Blocks. Cremation assist. Okay. I caught backdashing. Good blocks. Cremation is kind of an assist you want to be calling when they're afraid you're going to be pulsing a button on me. So you're kind of calling it in the airspace above their head, really making them worry, are they going to land on me with a button? And then after that, it's, oh crap, are they going to hit high before cremation hits low, etc. Yeah, so Bicep suggesting for round start, taking a patient route, which also baits out the round start beam every time, is just going to be up back, because you'll just already be chicken blocking the beam assist, etc. That's not actually chicken blocking, right? Yeah. Now we raw tag. Our character was bleeding and is now very dead. No, now is dead. Yeah. How many more games? It's like 4 more games. Can watch them because they've been pretty quick, but I think the biggest thing I can say for Zardy is just, it seems like we're really just struggling to adapt our game plan. And so we're not forcing Headboomer to do anything more than like year 1 or 2. There we go, we finally caught them for hitting our assist a little bit too much, but that assist is still missing half her life. And we're calling an assist in a really bad spot again. Don't quite know that the kid's gonna drop out because she's small. And then we're just stuck in the corner. Dead. Actually, what was it? No, okay, Doom was covering it, never mind. So, exactly what I was talking about earlier. Running forward with this assist behind you, just, you say it's my turn now. They can't really contest anything you're doing right in front of them, because that big bat is just gonna wallop them the second they try and do anything to you. Do need to keep in mind if you get thrown, your assist doesn't matter, but it's just something to consider. So when they're doing something like this, right above your head, stand heavy punch. Stand heavy punch. This might be a little too high for it, but it definitely would have hit towards the end. Know where your buttons hit and how you can contest people doing things in weird, awkward spaces, because you could have stopped them hitting your character and also gotten control of the game from there. Now we got Philia just hosting the Philia show again. Yep.
Can I get a round of applause for our contestants?
Last one.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime!
Oh, okay. Not playing the Philia. Gets caught up backing. So push block. So yeah. Was on stun heavy punch, but the assist was coming in. Good blocks. Drop. Alright, what does this wiggly do up there? Full and this combo. Rock tag. You kind of just... That's another bad habit you should consider ironing out. I'm not gonna say never raw tag. Raw tag, especially with ones that are weird, like umbies or squigglies, they can be used in specific scenarios to mess with people, to actually like hard counter certain mix setups or zoning. But as a general rule of thumb, raw tagging solely to get your character in is very rarely going to be safe without other setup. And therefore, you're just giving them another health bar to abuse. And so, like, for example, if you've been raw tagging to try and save your point character, what ended up happening was the character you just raw tagged got hit, got snapped in, and then the point character was back in, now with an assist who has less life. And that's kind of just what happens when you raw tag a lot. Talked a good bit about push blocking towards the start. It helps. Philia is just an obnoxious and sticky character, and knowing when and where to push block her is important. But the biggest thing was just the assist usage. We had a game plan that we couldn't adjust, and it led to our assist just getting slapped consistently, and then us getting happy birthdayed. And if you're playing a team, if you're playing a duo or trio, and your assist isn't actually allowed to come out, you're just playing gimped solos. And so it's really important to think about when and where you're calling the assists. And then not only think about it, but then practice those new thoughts in game. Because it's one thing to know what you're doing is wrong, it's an entirely different thing to all of a sudden iron out said bad habits. On that note, I think that's kind of everything I had for Zardy. For Boomer, didn't focus too much. You were doing a really good job of hitting the assist. I mean, Beam was kind of just controlling the game for you. Biceps pointed this out as well. You kind of had one or two game plans. The issue is, I don't know whether I can't yell at you for not adapting or not like showing you're changing when you don't need to change the thing that's working. It was yeah, that's kind of the major thing there for that. I'm pretty sure you were the person who I was saying your pressure was pretty just like high, low, high, low, high, low, and I definitely saw you mix it up a little bit more here, which I'm very happy to see. If that wasn't you, I'm trolling and I'm sorry. But I'm just going to go ahead and say that is progress. I like seeing. Drops were unfortunate on both sides. Just play more, lab a little more, iron out those sort of kinks. Shit happens. For Head Boomer, definitely stop ending your strings with Stand Heavy Punch. You weren't getting punished for it here, but it will come back to bite you. Try and work on mediums, layering your pressure with your beam assist, that sort of deal. Ending on heavy while not punishable still loses your turn. And losing your turn in Skullgirls can sometimes be just as bad as getting hit.